help young people activate an entrepreneurial mindset by launching businesses in high school or middle school, and also by participating in hackathons, which are events that we run around the country, which allows young people to come together and solve the problems that adults have created. There's been a lot of growth, which is great, to grow the business while also growing myself into, I think, a better version of myself.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. Today, I'm so stoked to talk to someone who is going to tell us all sorts of cool stuff about what she's doing to serve the world. She's all over the place. Sarah, will you please tell us who you are and what do you do?
Well, my name's Sarah Hernholm, and I am the founder of an organization called WIT, Whatever It Takes. And we help young people activate an entrepreneurial mindset by launching businesses in high school or middle school, and also by participating in hackathons, which are events that we run around the country, which allows young people to come together and solve the problems that adults have created. And we also run a virtual community where young people, young entrepreneurs can come together with like-minded leaders, young leaders, and work together and build their own network of support.
What other things have you hit along the way that have made growing a nonprofit hard?
Well, I remember one of my first, I joined this group of people that was like for nonprofit leaders, but I have a very for-profit brain. And when
right.
I would say things like, okay, so we're going to charge this much, and then we'll have like this much in revenue, or whatever, or this, we'll make this much, and profit, and we'll make this much. And they were like, you can't talk like that. And I remember being scolded in this meeting, like, that's not, you can't talk like that as a nonprofit. And I remember thinking, okay.
You're kidding.
And what I realized was that I'm better at creating things that people will pay for versus asking for money. And that is why.
That's a funny mindset.
I'm like, I like the challenge of creating something and then being like, okay, will they pay this much for it? Like, will they see the value in this? Or how can I make this more valuable for somebody and make it worth their investment? And I take it really seriously that a parent's going to put their hard-earned money into our programs. So it makes me want to really deliver on that versus going and asking for money. That's just not, and that's the irony, is that I have a nonprofit. So it is kind of irony that
you're running a not-for-profit and teaching kids to be profitable, right?
I know, but so then we are profitable, right? We still have lots to say, right? But that allows us to then provide scholarships for people that might not be able to afford the program. So the challenge was a challenge for me in the beginning, was just learning this world that I wasn't familiar with. We've had challenges. I mean, hiring, and that can be a 2-hour conversation about hiring and firing, and learning 100%. How to be the right kind of leader for people, and where my skill sets are and where they're not, and if I was willing to work on developing those skills, or it was better to hire somebody else to do those things. All those things have been challenging. But I think the growth for me over the past 10 plus years has been in just the lessening of the ego, which was pretty big in the beginning. Like, just a lot of ego and fear about being defined by that work or defined by WIT, and now I don't have it. I'm not as married to it as I used to be, and I was in the beginning. And so if anybody is, it's okay. I get it.
Yeah.
If something is coming from your heart and you're creating something, you can really feel personally connected to everything. But I have better space now.
Yeah. I try to justify to my wife that, you need ego to start a business, right? Because you're right about it. You know how to solve this problem, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. The more humble you are about the approach and just knowing that you do know what you're doing is enough. You don't have to go declare to the world that I am the best at this thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. And I listen more than I did in the beginning.
Cool.
I listen more, which is wonderful too. So there's been a lot of growth, which is
awesome.
Which is great to grow the business while also growing myself into, I think, a better version of myself.
Tell us about the growth. I mean, you started off in San Diego. I've heard you mention Austin, New York, St. Louis. How have you been able to scale this thing?
Well, I think honestly, and this is just so maybe to bring some value to your audience by being this honest, is that,
Yeah,
my ego drove it in the beginning. My ego, I
sure.
really felt like there was something to be said about having different locations in different states. That felt good to say to me. It felt like I sounded
Right.
more important and a bigger deal. And that was kind of it. That was a bit of it. And then I
Right.
also love to travel, and I've lived in multiple places, and I think that I like the idea of comparing what the dynamics would be with young people in different cities and seeing what works here. Would
Sure.
it work in the Midwest? Would it work in New York City? Would it work in San Diego? So that was, that was a bit of it.
Sure.
But the model itself, it the challenges came. The biggest challenge for us is, uh, maybe not anymore because of how now we do it virtually, was finding the right
Yeah.
facilitator, because I don't believe that
Right.
people who have never been an entrepreneur should teach entrepreneurship. I don't think that, and a lot of people,
I totally
but there's a lot
agree.
of people, like when I travel around and I visit schools and they say we have an entrepreneurship program, it's not taught by somebody who's been an entrepreneur. And so,
That always
yeah.
cracks me
And
up.
so it's like, I feel, and I just think it's important to say, like,
In colleges too.
yeah,
Like it blows
yeah,
me away. I'll go visit college campuses and I'm like, wait, who's teaching the entrepreneurship program? And it's like not even anyone that's ever started a
yeah.
business before. It's
And the
crazy.
thing is like when we started WIT, it's a long story short, but it was supposed to be a TV show because I used to work in TV and film, and then it became a nonprofit just
Cool.
because we beta
Cool.
tested the concept of the show in the city, and it worked. And so they're like, oh, now we're doing this thing. So a lot of the lessons that we're
Awesome.
teaching young people are lessons that I learned in real time. And so I feel like, but you have to have experienced those kinds of things and put yourself out
Sure.
there and had, failures. And I've had plenty of failures, and be able to tell the kids, like, oh yeah, I put up a booth one time at
100%.
an event and nobody stopped by my booth. And they're like, no way, Miss Hernholm. I'm like, yes way. And I had to sit there and feel like mortified and embarrassed. And then I realized,
That you just spent
all
all
the
the
money to
money
be
being
there, but
there.
then I
Yeah.
realized I wasn't with my
Yeah.
right audience. That wasn't the people that I should be in front of. So I feel like the lessons that
Right.
I've learned, and the lessons, so that's why it's really important to us that our facilitators of the WIT program are entrepreneurs.
I
So
love it.
that's a key piece that was
I love
hard to
it.
do when we were in person, but now we can get a lot of people that
Right.
are willing to just like log into Zoom, and they almost see it as like a way to give back to their community, is to run our class. Yeah.
100%. 100%. No, I totally agree with that. I always tell people, especially students, that my first business was my paper
Yeah.
route. I had to go out and sell to my neighbors. I had a supplier. I had to do the fulfillment. I had to collect money and pay my invoice every month. Like, there's really nothing different that I do now that I didn't do then.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Those simple
Yes.
processes. So I am totally bought into what you're doing. Kate, now you mentioned a few challenges. What other things did you hit that were kind of surprises that you wish you hadn't hit? And maybe what are some things that you hit that you're like, you already mentioned one you're grateful for is that the schools were kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard to get into. I'm so excited about this. Like really, I've got 7 kids and 3 of them are adulting right now. And I've taught every one of them to start a business every summer that they've been alive practically. So I can't wait to hear about this. Tell us about like, where are you doing this? Are you integrated with the schools? Like what are you doing? Is this totally extracurricular, or how have you set this thing up? Tell
Well,
us
it's gone
about
through
this.
multiple iterations, as most businesses do. The current iteration, the current version
Sure.
of WIT, is one where we run our college credit classes for high schoolers and middle schoolers
Cool.
virtually. And
Love
the
it.
hackathons are done in person, so in different cities around the country.
I love it. Okay. So you got approved to do some college credits.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, do they get time out of school to do this, or is it like, talk to me. Like I'm
Okay,
totally thinking this,
so
like I'm registering my senior right now. And so it's like totally fresh on my mind.
So we don't work really directly with the schools. That's a story maybe for another time about trying to get into the school systems. But we're an after-school program
Cool.
where a high schooler or a teenager or a teenager, if
Right.
their parents, they apply to be in our program, you have to apply and you have to get accepted. And then if you're accepted, then you get to attend a once a week class for about 6 to 8 weeks, and you
Love it.
attend it after school, after sports, and you log into a Zoom room with us, And within 6 weeks, you are pitching your business and how you've executed it to a panel of judges virtually.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's as cool as I thought it would be. So, like, really, this is so cool. How many kids are you getting through this program, and how well is it being, like, I know you've got little branch offices all over the place, but how is it being received? Like, do you feel like you're penetrating as much as you'd like, or are you way busier than you want to be, or what's kind of what does that look like?
We've been doing WIT for over 13 years now. So
Right.
we worked with thousands of young people. I would say what I'm most excited about right now is that we're finally getting young people back together for our hackathons. COVID really shut us down.
Yeah.
And it was detrimental to young people, the way adults closed them down.
Agreed.
And pulled them away.
Agreed.
And they're really behind in their social developments and interactions. And so just getting a chance to run hackathons is like the top priority for me right now. We still have our ongoing virtual classes, which are really important because it's really valuable for a young person to log into a Zoom room, even though I know we were kind of zoomed out, but our young people are logging into a Zoom room with a kid in a different country or a different city, a different state, and building relationships. So we see that, and we're a big, like, we work smarter, not harder. We don't waste time in Zoom. We're very action oriented as an organization. So we're not boring, which I understand why young people got annoyed by Zoom because, adults can be boring.
Yes.
So I get it.
Yes.
But right now I'm really focused on how to get people back together in those hackathons. We ran one in San Diego last week. The week before that, we were in New York City. We're planning some more this summer. And that's where I'm trying to get the word out the most is, like, if you are an organization or a school that wants to sponsor a hackathon, it allows your young people to come together for 24 hours to 48 hours. They will pick problems to solve in their community. They will come up with a pitch. They will come up with a solution. They will pitch that solution, and it's between $500 to $1,000 prize, and you earn college credit. So it's a very fast-moving way to activate entrepreneurial mindset and to bring young people together.
I love it. Running a business, honestly, can leave a lot of founders and operators feeling lonely and isolated. If you have ever felt that way, trust me, I know what it feels like. And there is something you can do about it. You've heard a lot of our guests talk about the fact that being lonely and isolated is one of their biggest challenges in trying to run and scale their business. captainscouncil.com. Go to captainscouncil.com right now and see what we're doing to resolve this problem. We want you to be a strong operator who has solutions and has a way to get around the challenges you're currently facing. What most founders don't understand is that you're not alone. The challenges that you're facing, likely somebody else has already overcome, and they can give you the feedback you need to overcome them. Who better than your peers, other founders, other operators who are joining with you in a small group setting, a global community setting, as well as at our in-person events to guide you through these challenges that you're facing right now. Don't give up, keep on pushing, but do it with some good advice from your peers. Go check it out at captainscouncil.com and let me know what you think about the offering. We can't wait to see you there. Love it. All right, this is so cool. So you've been doing this for like 13, 14 years. And as you've been building this, now that we know what you do, I want to know how you've done it. I mean, I imagine that you've run into all sorts of hiccups and problems, but let's start with the good stuff. Let's start with the stuff that has gone right. Maybe some pivots that have taken you to where you've gone right now. Maybe some cool decisions you've made that kind of took it from like, man, I'm hitting a brick wall with these schools, but look at what just happened. Is there anything that's happened like that?
Yeah, some fun things come to mind when you ask that. One, it reminds me of when we were hitting those walls with getting locations for our programs, because we used to run our classes in person in San Diego, Austin, Texas, New York City, and St. Louis. And we had a hard time finding schools that wanted to partner with us that would also allow other students to come to that school and participate in the event.
Interesting.
And I really was just thinking, I like to solve problems. I like to see them as opportunities to get creative. And where we got creative and what ended up working out was instead of partnering with co-working spaces. And it was perfect
Oh,
because co-working spaces are much more interesting, unfortunately, than a lot of
yes.
schools are, and the way that they look and the kind of facilities.
Fortunately.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for kids, because I
Right,
feel like,
right.
the learning environment for young people should be exciting,
Should
and
be.
you should
Yeah.
want to go into school and feel like they want you to innovate and create and engage. But the young people really liked coming to the co-working spaces, and then a couple more wins came from that because now we were at a place where there were already entrepreneurs, and so when it came time for judging and mentors and partnerships with even organizations, we had
Love
them
it.
right there. So that was a fun
Oh, that's
setback
so
turned into
creative.
it turned into a setup for something better. And now we still do a lot of our hackathons at co-working places.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And for those that don't know, I mean, I participated in hackathons. Will you explain why it's so
Yeah.
critical and what actually happens at a hackathon?
So I think we use the term loosely over here at WIT because I know some other hackathons, they're really about like it's tech,
Super
it's all
coding. Right,
tech
right.
and coding. And for us, we're using it as terms of like hacking your city's greatest problem. The idea is that a lot of people like to complain,
Yes.
and teenagers will complain. Adults will complain too.
Wait,
Teenagers
what?
complain about, what's going on and what they don't like or what's not working or all these things. And
Right.
we say, okay, well, let's take action on those things because we're not really big on being the victim in your life. We really want you to be the victor in your life. And so if you don't like something, then either be quiet about it or do something about it.
Right.
And so the hackathons are like, okay, asking our young people, what's bothering you? And they'll say homelessness, teen mental health. We've had hackathons dedicated to youth trafficking, which is a big problem in our country, especially
Right.
in our border cities.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've solved problems, or they pitch solutions to multiple things. And it's just a way for them to engage and feel part of something, which I think as human beings, we all desire to feel part of
Sure.
something. And that we do it really fast paced. There's a lot of pizza, there's a lot of candy, there's a lot of fun happening, a lot of giveaways along the way. And again, young people will say to us, I wish school was like this. Like, why can't school feel like this?
Why
And
can't
it's
it
really like,
replace school? You know what I mean? Like,
I know, really, like, it
realistically.
just truly, like, just things that I wish it's a conversation for another time, that I just feel like we could do a lot better by our young people when it comes to educating them.
Especially like junior and senior year. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
now you've kind of got all the fundamentals down. Now, instead of math and calculus, let's do accounting and, like
Yeah,
statistics or
totally.
something cool like that. You know what I mean? I think that would be so cool. Absolutely love what you're doing. And I love the pivots you made. I think the co-working space idea is like, I mean, looking back, you probably think we should have just started there, but there really weren't co-working
Totally.
spaces in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? Like, this is a
Yeah.
fairly new
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. And it makes I think those are all learning. That's all part of the learning, Sometimes we think,
Right.
and I'm so grateful that we didn't just get
Right.
stuck in schools, that we got out into the world and
No
out
kidding.
into communities that eventually we wanted to partner with.
No
And
kidding.
so it was just good for the kids to switch it up too, especially when we bring together young people from different schools. It
Yeah.
provides a level playing field. I mean,
Right.
we worked out of Google headquarters in Chelsea in New York,
Cool.
and it was kids from all neighborhoods in New York showing
Love
up
it.
there. And so it wasn't like, kids were showing up at like the most elite school, but they didn't get to attend that school. And so
Right.
that is also, I mean, if you're thinking about, I think, the word equity is overused right now, but if you really want to think about being equitable,
Yeah.
or leveling the playing field, throw a bunch of kids into Google, and they all come in shell shocked and like, oh my God, this is so
Totally.
cool. And now we get to work. So that's the kind of stuff that WIT tries to do.
Fantastic. My kids are lucky. They're fortunate that we live in a community full of a lot of entrepreneurs. And so we do have a release time entrepreneurship program at our high school. And it is very cool. Like, it's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to compare notes later about what you guys are doing versus what we've been trying to do in our community, because it honestly sounds like it'd be much easier just to plug in to a program like what you've already created, as opposed to trying to create our own, which I will say it's going pretty well. Like, it's been pretty fun. I've been mentoring quite a bit over there over the past few years with the high school kids, but I love what you're doing. Like, this is so
Thank
phenomenal.
you.
Now, tell me about, I guess I want to know, it's been hitting my head. Looking back, would you have still started this as a nonprofit, or would you have tried to create a for-profit program doing the same thing?
Yeah, I'd love to. It would be fun to try that, right? To do that
Right.
model, and I totally would have been open to that. I don't have a thing against that. I think that I don't have anything wrong with people making money, and being
Right,
a for
right.
profit. That's not. I don't have an issue with that.
I guess the biggest benefit, though, would be that when you're asking other local businesses to help, judge a competition or to do, contribute to some prizes or some scholarship or what have you, they do get the benefit of donating to a nonprofit.
Yeah, and I think
so that is
I think there's that, and I think it brings value to the spaces that donate their spaces, and then they get to say that this is how they help the community. Yeah. So I feel like, totally. And again, like I said, I do run it very for profit in my head, and we charge for our program,
right.
And we give to people in our. So the way it's running right now, in the way it's kind of always run, it's kind of doing. We do get the wins all around, I think.
Cool. I love it. Very cool. So starting any business is hard, and doing what you've done is definitely not easy. And running any business for longer than 10 years, in my opinion, is like, woo, go, like, that's freaking awesome. How have you been able to maintain your positivity or enthusiasm with this? Do you have someone in your circle, in your network, who's kind of inspired you to keep it moving the direction you're going?
The kids. Yeah, I feel very, a very strong conviction to be the adult that I wanted as a kid when it came to an educator.
Yeah.
I have great parents, great role models there. School, I can probably count on one hand how many great teachers I had. And I really want, so for
Agreed.
me, it's the kid, it's the teens. It's thinking like, okay, if we keep going, we help somebody realize their self-value, self-worth, and we help them experience the value of hard work, because our kids work really hard. And
love it.
We have a motto like, can't want it more than you. So, I write for Forbes, I write for the Today Show. They all want it. They all want to be on the Today Show. They all want me to write about them in Forbes. And I'm like, tell me something that you've done that's worth writing about, because I haven't seen it yet. And so get to work and do whatever it takes.
I love it.
And they do. And you and I both know that hard work, the value of hard work, what that does for your self-confidence and your sense of self-value, is priceless. And I feel that that's really important to give young people, especially in times like this. So
cool. So very cool. I want to know, we'll talk afterwards, what I can do to help you with your program and help you grow this, because I feel very passionate about this as a dad, as an entrepreneur, as everything that I've ever done. Anything to help these youth see something different they can be doing than just going through the program is so valuable to them. So thank you for what you're doing. How do people get a hold of you? What's your website? How do people contribute and help?
So if you're inspired to get the young person in your life involved, we have summer programs happening right now. You can visit doingwit.org. I go back once a week, 1 week a summer to run a class. And so I'm running one this summer. I'm very excited to re-engage with them. Young people will do it virtually. If you like the idea of hosting a hackathon in your city, you can also visit our website and reach out. You can always reach out to me directly at Sarah with an H at doingwit.org.
Awesome. Sarah, you're the best. I'm seriously so glad we connected on this, and so glad we can bring any exposure to what you're doing that we can. And those watching this program, honestly, growing and scaling is never easy, but it is so rewarding when it works. And it's so rewarding when you have the right attitude and the right ability to make these pivots that Sarah made in growing this program. So I hope it's inspired you. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to catching you all in the next episode.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, what did you think of that episode? I gotta tell you, Sarah is an amazing woman. We chatted for a long time after our conversation, and so excited. Like, I really can't even begin to tell you. We're going to take parts of what she is doing and incorporate it into our community. For those that listen to this podcast, yes, we do have a community. Details will be below. But we want you to not only learn how to grow and scale your own business, but to help companies like this grow and expand their reach. They need us. They need people like us to help contribute, not just monetarily, but through volunteer work, through helping kids and mentoring and all the other things that they need to grow and scale their minds into this mindset of everything's not just handed to me. I got to go work for these things. So if that's something you're interested, connect with Sarah below. Her details are in the show notes, and share this episode with those who need to hear it. Like, share, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to support this podcast, because we are here for you. I love to help other founders and operators of businesses. And if you can't tell that by now, just go away. But I love you. I love what you're doing. I love what you're building. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, leave us some notes in the comments. Let us know what we can be doing, provide better content, better copy for you, so that you can grow and scale your business to where you want to be. So exciting. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up with you on the next episode.